have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck.
Hello, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass is the man that didn't screw up the beginning of this live feed, Captain Mark Wages. So we're glad that you stuck around. Sorry about that, people. That one was on me. So let me tell you a little bit about the last couple of days, and then I will bring you up to speed on today's. This is going to be a good one, people. It really is. I'm excited about this. So I drove to California to go look at some antique stuff and pick up some gold and some other stuff. And I drove down in what was supposed to be really, really nice weather. Actually looked before I went. They said there could be a dusting of just a little bit of snow. There would be no accumulation. Suffice to say, it didn't quite work out that way. So I had a pretty rugged trip that was hours of white knuckling it because there was quite a bit of snow, as it turns out. And so it was a perfect opportunity to work through, the curveballs that life throws at you. And, but I did pick up this, which you have to see, because as soon as I saw this, I thought, tell me I don't need that for the lifeboat. Huh?
That's
Is
awesome.
that not awesome? That is a nutcracker that looks like a squirrel. I said, oh man, I have got to have that.
That is so
all right.
cool.
So unfortunately, I also picked up some fur coats, and Squirrel has decided that one of them could be her mother. And since then, no matter where I hide these, she manages to get on them and take a nap on them. So we'll be lucky if we see Squirrel this evening. She's pretty fired up. So when we talk about trading our problems for other problems, it's probably a silly concept when you first hear about it. But truth be told, everybody on this planet has problems. Right? No matter what goes on in your life, you have problems. We all think about the things that plague the vast majority of us. And the first thing that jumps to most people's minds is money problems. And I can assure you that every single person on this planet has money problems. And as I said that, I can almost hear some of you thinking names like Elon Musk, right? Or Bill Gates or any of those people. I assure you they have money problems. Now, their problems are considerably different than our money problems, right? There are people who have money problems that paying the rent is a difficult thing to do. And then they have people who are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars. They have to figure out how to invest and how to keep these empires that they have built going. Regardless of what you're doing in life, there are going to be problems. And if there isn't, then your life is going to suck. I promise you. Because without problems, you're not going to have any growth. You're not going to have anything of meaning in your life. Everything that we do in our life that accomplishes anything all involves the overcoming of problems, right? And the question becomes, how do we do this? Especially when life begins to throw us curveballs. Mark and I have said so many times that when we shut down the lifeboat for a little while, it got sketchy, right? For both of us. And we talk about how the lifeboat is such a large part of our sobriety. I probably ought to explain that more, because obviously coming here and telling people our problems and having support from all of you is huge. It goes a long way to really helping us in everything that we've got going on in life. On the flip side of that, we also spend a decent amount of time, my partner and I, researching things. In order to keep the lifeboat going, there is a lot of effort that has to be put into doing things like reading, right? Or watching videos or anything like that, that everything that we study in order to keep the lifeboat going is all very motivational stuff. It's all stuff that moves us forward in a very positive direction. And so the lack of doing that over the course of a month was really something that I think devastated both of us. We're definitely happier men all the way around since we started doing that again. But it points to a way that we get through what we're doing. And what it boils down to is that we spend hours every single day focusing on being better. We spend hours every day focusing on being a sober individual. And then we come and talk to people who are trying to get the same thing done. May I suggest that you take a little bit more than an hour a day? I mean, there are some of you who are going to get on this live feed and you're going to stick around till the end, and I appreciate that. I know Mark does as well. But the average probably about 19 minutes. So I can assure you, 100% assure you that 19 minutes a day isn't going to keep you sober. It's not. And even in a perfect case scenario, an hour a day isn't. There are things that you have to do to overcome the problems that come down the pike. And I think that one of the biggest ones, Brandon Taylor, good to see you. Prayers for Brandon, people. Brandon just lost a family member, which is tough. And I want to make sure that we keep him in our thoughts and prayers. I also would like to keep trainee human in our thoughts and prayers. He's got some medical stuff that's coming up. He's had some tests done, and it's a frightening time right now to be him. So we'd like to keep the trainee human in our thoughts and our prayers as well. So when things start coming down the pike that are overwhelming, and there are, I mean, so many different things in life that can plague us, right? Like health, like finances, like coming home and finding your significant other with someone else, right? All of these things feel life ending. We really feel like we've hit a juncture of our life that there's no getting by. Like it's the end, right? It's that this is the end moment, and they happen constantly. And if you're trying to get sober, they happen more often than if you're just a normal person. So while doing some research on this, I came across a cat by the name of Jason Redman. And Jason Redman was a Navy SEAL. Reading his story and researching this guy was absolutely life-changing. It really was. Because this is a cat that got that moment of life is really never going to be the same. He went out on assignment, and it's funny because when he tells the story, he said traveling light and fast is something that was always more important to him than anything else. And as a Navy SEAL, there's a lot of people that go that route, right? The lighter and faster you move, the safer you are. So they wear these plates on their side to protect them from bullets coming in. And he said he wasn't exactly sure why, but he thought, you know what, tonight I'm wearing them. Those plates took a lot of 50 caliber shots. Unfortunately, he didn't have one over his head. And he took a 50 caliber bullet. If you've ever seen a 50 caliber bullet, it's just slightly bigger than your thumb. And it's slightly longer than your thumb. And he took several of them to the face. And he, when he woke up in the hospital, he had a trach tube. He had all of these different things that were keeping him alive. And the doctors came in and said to him, you really are in bad shape. We're not going to lie to you. And they broke down all of the things that were wrong with him. You're probably going to lose your left arm. You're going to go, and they just kept going down all of this list. And he said when the doctor walked away, he heard a conversation on the other side of the curtain. They sort of wrap that curtain around you. And he heard people saying, it's a tragedy that we send these boys off perfect to go defend our country. And then they come back broken, literally shells of who they are. And they're never going to achieve the American dream. They're never going to get what they wanted in life. Suffice to say that this pissed off Jason Redman, right? This is a cat that became a Navy SEAL. And if you know anything about what it takes to become a Navy SEAL, these are not people that give up very easily. These are people who can endure things that other people simply can't endure. And He laid there in bed just getting angrier and angrier, and his ability to communicate was pretty much nil, right? He's got a trach tube going down his throat. He's got tubes coming out from all over him, and one of his hands isn't working. But he said to his wife, "Get me a pen." And I'm going to read to you what he wrote. And I want you to keep in mind that he wrote it down, okay? But this is what he wrote. He wrote, "Attention to all who enter here. If you are coming in to feel sorry for my wounds, please go somewhere else. The wounds I received, I got in a job that I love, doing it for people I love, supporting families of a country that I deeply love. I am incredibly tough, and I will make a full recovery. What is a full recovery? It's the absolute best that my body can physically achieve with what has happened to me. When I get there, I will push 20% harder and 20% farther than you say I can get. I'm going to do this through the sheer tenacity of spirit. The room you're about to enter is a room of fun, of optimism, and of intense, rapid regrowth. If you are not prepared for that, please go elsewhere." And then he wrote below that, "From the management." And he took his pin. If you've ever seen Navy SEALs, they get a trident pin when they become a Navy SEAL. And he said to his wife, "Take this and stick it on the door with the trident pin." That was 12 and a half years ago. He has use of both of his arms. He walks. He doesn't look like the rest of the planet does, right? He obviously took some pretty serious damage to his face. But when you look at this cat, you don't see that. You don't see any of that. When you look at this person, you see a triumph of spirit like nothing that you've ever seen in anyone before. And when I read this, what he wrote, I had to like write it down, go back, write it down, go back, write it down, because I wanted to get it word for word. He just sort of quoted it. There was no way to read what he did. But the term "through sheer tenacity of spirit" is something that really jumped out at me. It really absolutely blew my mind. And then he began to talk about faith. And you know what? Before you bail, your faith can be whatever you want. I'm not forcing God down your throat. Your faith can be in anything other than your situation today. Because everybody I'm talking to right now thinks in terms of their paycheck. They think in terms of their marriage. They think in terms of their home, right? That's not how you dream. You don't dream within your $4,000 a month or $3,000 a month paycheck, because if that's where you dream, that's where you will stay. So I started to look up faith, because this man just talked about it so much. His faith, he never once mentioned the higher power, by the way. The faith that he had was in his own tenacity of spirit. This is a guy that had already proved he could do it. Remember the other day when I said the beautiful thing about getting sober is you prove that you can overcome the biggest obstacle that ever comes down the pike? The nastiest thing you ever had to overcome in life, you did. Well, when that happens, amazing crap starts to happen with it. So when you start feeling yourself in a position that is just kicking the ever-loving crap out of you, what you need is faith. Because faith is something that all of us, regardless of what you believe, all of us have a level of faith inside of us. Einstein once said that imagination, right, is the only thing in life that matters, because it is a preview of your life. It is a preview of the things that you can make happen, which is pretty incredible stuff. It ought to make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Because once again, if you start to think about the imagination of where I can be in 2 years, or where I can get to once I'm sober, or the things that I can do, if the farthest you can think in your imagination is what you're living, I got news for you. That's not your imagination. And it will keep you exactly there. So when things start really, really working you and start dragging you down, there's a poem by Robert Frost that says, I came to a fork in the road, and I took the path less traveled, and that made all of the difference. Those words are significant as hell if you let them sink in, because the majority of the world does not take the path that you're taking. The majority of addicts die addicted. Sad truth, right? But it is the truth. And if your poison happens to be opiates, about 90% or better never get clean. That's not the path, right, that we're on. We're taking the path less traveled. And in order to do that, you're going to have to imagine things that you don't live. You're going to have to imagine a life that isn't where you're at. Because where you're at is, I need $100 a day. or where you're at is I'm not getting through the day without a six pack, right? That if you stay in that realm, if you imagine, you know what, I could probably, get through this if I just cut down to 4 a day. Or maybe if I just got a pain management doctor to write me a prescription for enough pain meds, then I wouldn't have to go to the street and my life wouldn't be in danger. If that's dreaming within your circumstance, do you understand the difference? Because you cannot dream within your circumstance. You can't dream within your paycheck. You can't dream within where you are today. The imagination has to be a coming attraction of the rest of your life. You're going to have to jump into a level of faith that most people don't have. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? And the evidence of things not seen. I'm going to say that again because it's friggin' heavy. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. If you're listening to this for the first time and you've got a drug habit that you're trying to get through, you're going to have to look past your circumstances. You're going to have to push yourself into a realm that isn't where you live. That requires imagination, believe it or not, right? You're going to have to imagine what you're capable of. You're going to have to imagine a world that you're not high in. And I'll tell you something, I'm not talking to you from a mountaintop because I spent 30 years unable to imagine getting up in the morning without heroin. Mark spent a mountain of time unable to envision a life without pain medication. For either of us to get sober, we had to vision, right? We had to imagine a life beyond that. We had to imagine a life beyond our paycheck, beyond, outside of our marriage, our family, our life. There are things that you have to do if you're going to make things happen. So when the ship hits the fan, so to speak, good luck is the residue of good preparation. Brandon, I love that. I had a coach that used to say that luck is the residue of design. I was always a big fan of that. Seems like the more that we plan, the luckier we get. That's one of those things that really comes up.
Let me read you KKP's. I'll put it back on the screen there.
Okay.
Because it actually applies kind of in a different perspective here. She says, wanted to drop a note that I watched. This is KKP. I'm not sure if they've ever commented at all. I've seen KP in there, but I'm not sure about KKP.
I have not seen KKP.
Says she watches each week as my adult daughter is an addict and we have custody of our grandson. I listen intently and learn from all of you. Thank you all.
Wow, how cool is that?
That's so cool, man.
No, that is so cool. And the punchline in that is that I learned from all of you. For real. My bobble-headed partner and I, the two captains of this vessel, do what we can to keep it afloat so that you guys can educate the people that get on board. And that really is how this works. So many of you are already doing this, right? So many of you are already dreaming beyond the circumstances that brought you to the lifeboat. But so when these things happen in life and we feel crippled, right? Whether you take a bullet in the face, right? Or whether it's a cheating wife or husband or a divorce or any of the things that feel like the end of the world when they happen. What's going to happen to every single person who finds themselves in that end of the line kind of situation is you will have to react, right? There's no getting around this. You have to react. So REACT is an acronym. If you look at it as an acronym, you are going to be better off. Okay. So the R in REACT is for recognize. You have to recognize your reality. And this is the thing that addicts struggle with the most, especially once we first get sober. Something comes up and instantly it's the end of the world, right? I mean, these situations that first affect us, I can't make rent. I still owe $3,000 to a guy that's willing to hurt me if I don't pay him. And that's going to keep me from, okay, recognize what the situation really is, right? And then admit your reality. Because as we've said so many times on the lifeboat, when you take your situation and you say it out loud or you share it with other people, it loses all of that big bad wolf kind of crap that happens. All of a sudden it's reality. And the people around you say things like, well, you know what? I could probably help you through this, or this. Or have you ever thought of reaching out to these people, or whatever the case may be? But you have to recognize your reality. Anytime you find yourself in a situation that is completely beyond what you think you can handle. Hey, Rip Curl Readiness, good to see you. He's picking up Benny the Super Dog.
If you guys haven't checked him out, guys, please go check him out. He does shorts with Benny. It's awesome, isn't it, Tommy?
Yeah, Benny is awesome, and a very well dressed pup too.
Let me give a little shout out to Ilea too. She shares this out constantly, guys. I mean, she is really on top of that. So I just want to give her a special thanks. She really does. She's here every time she can be here, and it just, you can't have a better supporter than that. So
and beyond that, if Ilea sees anything that could have any effect whatsoever on the lifeboat or the people on it, she always gets it to one of the captains. And so much of what we've talked about in the last month has come from things that Ilea has sent us. So
yep, exactly.
I did. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you are appreciated, Ilea, truthfully. So you recognize your reality. The second thing you do is the E in react, right? Is evaluate. And you're evaluating your assets, right? This is one of the most important things. Anytime something happens, you may be dead broke. That's not your assets, right? What are your assets? Well, I've got a group of people on this boat that actually give a crap and are willing to help me. They're willing to be there for me. I've got a family that cares, or I got a family that doesn't, right? But whatever your assets are, figure out what you've got going for you. Because if you don't recognize your reality, right, then you're never going to be able to apply any of the things that you've got going for you to the next situation, right? So evaluate your assets, figure out what you've got going for you that can actually help you get through the situation that you're facing. The next thing is going to be assess, right? You're going to assess your options, and just as importantly, your outcomes. We've talked about this so many times on the boat, but you run things through to their final conclusion, right? Whatever comes up, if I had $1 for every time one of you has sent me an email and just said, I'm going to die, or I'm not going to get through this, or my wife is going to leave, or we're going to get evicted, only to never have any of those things come to fruition, right? And I'm not picking on you. If you sent me one of those emails, I love you. And I was the same person, right? So was Mark. When you're in the life and when this stuff owns you, you can't see past your reality. So doing all of these things, assessing your options and your outcomes, take it through to the final conclusion. All right, what's going to happen? Truthfully, worst case scenario, this person does leave you. Is it the end of your life? Take it from a guy that has burned through 2 really good marriages of 2 really beautiful people that I actually cared about. And here I am today, right? You take things through to their final conclusion and you figure out what your options are and what those options will lead you to. These are nuts and bolts things that get you through times that feel like they're the end of the world, right? If you do these things, I promise you will get through whatever the worst of the situation is going to be. The C in react is choose a direction, right? When you figure out what your options are, you're going to choose what direction you're going to go. And then you're going to communicate. This is an absolutely huge part of this, because I don't care what your end of life scenario that you've painted in your head is, you're not alone in it, ever. There are people who care about you, right? Let them know what is going on. Tell them the direction that you're going to go. And a lot of times, this will keep you from making mistakes that are way bigger than where you thought you were. I have people reach out to me and they'll say, this is what's going on, and I'll walk them through this process. I may not say, hey, this is what R stands for, but we go through this entire process. And they'll say, here's what I'm going to do. And you got to go, probably not a great idea, right? Let's work out through why this is not a great idea. This is probably not the direction that you want to go. When you communicate to the people that care about you, you're going to get advice from people that really have your best interest at heart. Keeping in mind that the decisions we make as addicts are made by a brain that we have established, right, ad nauseum, does not have your best interest at heart. Plain and simple, it doesn't. A perfect example, and I'll give this to you because the person is no longer here, but somebody that we worked with on the boat who said, well, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go and get 3 weeks worth of dope. And then I'm going to take these pain meds for the next 3 weeks. And Mark and I said, we looked at each other and just went, there is no chance in hell that this person is going, yeah, he's going to go get 3 weeks worth of dope, but there's never going to be anything but the continuation thereof. This is a long time ago, is it not?
Yeah, it'd be 3 weeks of dope and then back getting more before the 3 weeks is up, and then it just snowballs.
We have not seen this cat since about February.
That's unfortunate too. It really is.
It's really unfortunate because he's a great human being with a lot to offer, like every other addict, right? Yep. There's so much that this cat has to offer. But this is the reason that you don't just choose a direction. You choose a direction and you communicate it. And the beautiful thing is this: if you really want to get sober, then the people that you care about who are already sober, the advice they give you, you're going to take to heart. Now, if you really had no intention of getting sober in the first place and what you were looking for was a handout in the process, you might not take that advice. But you choose a direction and you communicate that to the people that you care about. And then T, right? This is the big one. Take freaking action, right? At that point, you've gone through all of the different stages of this. Now it's time to take what you talked about with the people who cared about you and put it into action, right? You have to do the things required. Now, again, dreaming of what the situation can be, putting yourself out of the situation, dreaming beyond the borders of what has got you hemmed in. If you can't do that, people, you're going to stay high. Sad but true, you're going to stay high. And so often it seems like the mountain is too big to climb. Well, when you're first getting sober, of course, it looks like the mountain is too big to climb. We're not used to it. Your brain doesn't want you to do it. Your brain wants you to stay exactly where you were. But this keeps people not just from getting sober, but it keeps people from living their best life, right? How many times have you had an idea, something that you really wanted to do? Christopher Allen says, this is from Chickenhead. It was a good photo. You know, I should post the photo because literally I got a photo and he did have a chicken on top of his head, which thank you, funny, Christopher.
Though. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome stuff, guys.
And it also says, this is cool. It also says, and decided to keep driving. This $10 represents what I would have spent on booze.
Yeah, that's the best right there.
Holy hell, right? Holy hell. Christopher, you just made my day.
Yeah, that's just awesome stuff, guys. And
and
here's another comment from Tommy Burr. I'm gonna put it up there again. And I think that this is really cool too, because we see this a lot here too. It says, man, it's weird when I get these messages from the boat. Was just sitting, feeling bad for myself, missing the feeling of knowing people were alive that gave a damn about me. Feels pretty stupid now. Basically, what
I love you, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome, just so cool.
I swear to God, I love you, brother. I really do. What a great comment.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just saying, hey, it puts it in perspective, guys. And oftentimes we're in that state of mind, and guess what? We don't even know we're there until somebody just like, hey, it's a cat. Hit us with the whip, wake us up, man. I mean,
yeah, no, there's definitely something to that. I got rid of someone who never cared too. It was tough at first, but I'm good with it. Good for you. And you know what? You bring up a great point, and it dovetails great into the next thing. People, we spend our lives as addicts, right? We spend our lives addicted to drugs and alcohol, which means we surround ourselves with people addicted to drugs and alcohol, or just people who are, very often people target individuals who are already in a bad place, right? It's like psychic vampirism, and these people target individuals who aren't in a great place. You've got to surround yourself with people who actually care about you. The fastest way in the entire world to kill a dream is to tell it to a jackwagon. How many times have you had a great idea, or even if the great idea was getting sober and moving on, or getting a better job, or doing any of these things, and you talk to someone who goes, whatever, man, no, it's not going to happen. You're wasting your time, this and that. If you surround yourself with people who care about your future, they're going to support you in the things that you do. They are going to help you in the faith that is required to become a better you, to overcome the things that come down you have to have individuals who are lifting you up, not dragging you down. And the truth of the matter is, this place is absolutely amazing in terms of people who care for one another. I've never been any place, virtual or otherwise, where there is a better group of people that really care about who you are. I disappeared, right, for a day because of this snowstorm that got me. So I spent the night down there at a hotel, the Bates Motel. Actually, it was not bad. It just looked like the Bates Motel as I pulled up to it. But yeah. But the number of emails I got from people who were just concerned that I kind of disappeared or that I didn't answer an email fast or whatever. There are so many people that care. And one person called and just said, you know what? I can't remember the last time that I couldn't get in touch with you when I tried. Please just tell me that everything is okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't take it the wrong way, right? It didn't grind. I didn't go, what are you talking about? I'm 7 years. None of that.
Right.
It felt fantastic that there was somebody out there that just wanted me to know that they cared for me and that they were worried, and
just wanted to know you were okay,
Yeah.
It's legit here, guys. That's exactly what it is. It's very, very legit. Those things are very legit here. Okay, there we go. We got it back.
There we go. I'm back.
All right, we're back now.
Yeah, I'll tell you something.
Didn't hear what I said.
Did
It's all right. That's my fault. See,
was that frozen the whole time?
When I was talking, it was.
You guys just missed such a great speech. Brandon Calloway says, "I'm trying to own my past." You need to, my brother. You absolutely need to. Josh B, great comment. He says, "I've been teaching my smoking buddy what I have learned here. He's not sober yet, but he's supportive and receptive. I'm very lucky." Receptive is huge, right? It really is. It's the start of so many great things. If you're trying to change your life and the people around you are not listening, they're not open, find new people to talk to. Tommy Bird says, "Yeah, I need this boat and fully intend to reap every possible benefit from it that I can. Usually ain't so selfish these days, but in that regard, I'll deal with it." You know what? Tommy, I use you as an example on a very regular basis when I try to explain the lifeboat to people, because it is a very difficult thing to explain. It really is. But when I try to explain the lifeboat to people, one of my favorite things that I did get your number, Andrew, and I will be in touch. One of my favorite stories ever is how the boat rallied behind Tommy when he was going to see the people at parole and probation.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome. And it just looked like people, it was one of those situations that could have gone very bad. We could have lost them and he could have been gone. And I think, you get your butt kicked by that system long enough, and usually you're getting your butt kicked because you deserve it. So we just get so accustomed to being part of this system that sort of keeps you down. And I know that he was in a bad place, but I remember getting the text from him and the number of people that I reached out to who just freaked out, like people screaming on the phone. And it was, it's one of my favorite examples of what this channel is and what this boat represents to so many people. It's it really is a beautiful group of individuals. Yeah, it's been a while since anyone close to me in person has asked about my well-being at all. I spend a lot of energy making sure others are okay. You know what? You're in the right place, and saying that out loud is a huge thing, Tommy. It really is. You understand, people, that, hey, Jimmy Pickles, good to see you. If you don't talk about things like that, Tommy, they will literally eat you.
Go ahead and get you a drink, man.
Joe, good to see you back, by the way. What's that?
Go ahead and get you a drink. I'll talk for a minute. It's all right.
Right?
Yeah, guys. It's, and Tommy wasn't the first one. Tommy Bird, wasn't the first one we've done that for either. It's been, we got to understand where we came from. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. We didn't come from the best part of town, if you want to use those words. We were all in that life. We were all doing what we were doing. So those kinds of things are there often. But what's different about us, and what's different, I'm talking about us as a community and the rest of the world, is we will actually stand there with you no matter if it's hard or not, because we know what it's like to stand there. We know that. And, that's something else that I think that we don't say this enough, and that's that we will stand beside you. We're not going to stand behind you. We're going to stand right next to you. We're not going just wait for the leftovers that you couldn't fend off. We're going to stand there right there with you while you're going through it. And that's what we do here. And sometimes we'll even step in front if that's what it needs. But you'll never see us standing behind just waiting for something to happen to see what you guys can handle and what you can't. Because you're going to know what you can and what you can't, and we're open enough here that you guys tell us, hey, I don't know if I can handle that. Give me some advice. What do I need to do here? And it goes back to KKP. What she said earlier. That's why she came here and she's seen what we're doing here. So she's taking our advice, listening to what we're saying, and she's applying it to the addicted person, not her. She's applying it to, and it's affecting a grandchild in a positive way. How awesome is that stuff?
That's a beautiful thing.
I mean, it's just crazy.
I got 4 emails in the last 7 days from people on the boat who are here for someone else. They're coming here every day. They're listening to all of the things that the crew talks about because there's somebody in their life that they really want to be there for. And it's a real challenge to be there for somebody if you don't really understand the addiction process and exactly what it means. But it's a humbling thing to hear that people are here doing that. It really says a lot, again, about the kind of people that have been brought here. Virginia says, I know my surgery made me not perfect in his eyes. I can't change that fact. Get rid of him. Do you see that sign right there?
Mm-hmm.
Out. Seriously. If there's somebody that's looking at you any different because of a surgery or anything else, that person is not worth having in your life at any level. Sorry, for real. They need to go. Virginia, you are one of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life.
Yep.
True story.
That's not a joke at all.
No, that is not a joke. You are absolutely one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. That person needs to be at the wayside.
Yeah.
For real.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say what I really want to. We'll get demonetized.
Yeah.
But suffice to say that person is a jackwagon and does not need to be in your life.
Exactly. That's yeah. I mean, when we hear the people that we care about, our crew, say, you reading Aaliyah's comment? Yeah, I know. That's why I put it up there. I'll read it for people that are listening. How about that? A YouTube channel for recovering and current addicts, created by recovering addicts, with the mission objective of encouraging each other to stay sober. Not that hard to explain. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Well done. The next time someone calls and I'm trying to explain this, Aaliyah, I'm sending them to you.
It was so
perfect.
Cool. That was awesome.
That really is awesome.
But yeah, we get upset when our crew members are being attacked, right? So when we hear you say, you're not like being attacked at the second, but hearing what you guys have went through, I catch myself feeling like, man, I'd like to just go say something to that idiot, you know, or worse. I mean, and there's times that come on, let's just be real about it. There's times that I wanted to just bam. You know what I mean? But what do? We do what we do. That's why we're here, and that's what we're doing. And that's what you guys are all doing, and that's why you're all still here. And it's working. And I think that we see that evident every day, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, because Tommy said it a lot lately. When we went away for a month, it was horrible. It really was. Don't get me wrong, we were handling our business, right? I mean, we didn't like fall back into anything or anything like that, but it was not the most pleasant thing. It just didn't feel right. Just to be honest with you guys, I didn't feel right.
No.
And when we came back, things were good. And that's because I think we realized at that point what was going on. And don't get me wrong, we were doing things in that first season that we had to change, right? I mean, that's why we're here 5 days a week now. That's one of the biggest reasons.
Yep.
I think it does. Like Tommy said, he might pop in once in a while on a day off, but that's when he wants or needs to. There's times that we all have to defrag. Have to. No
question.
And it really does keep us fresh, and it helps keep us focused on what we need to be doing. And I think it's working out really well. You guys are liking it, and I wish it was just as easy as just hit and go, but it's not. It's not.
It was funny that you say that. I had a couple of emails from people that have asked, where do you think I can go on the 2 days that you guys are off to get the same kind of a thing? You know what? If Heather Joy happens to be live those 2 days, that would be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
There are going to be times where I pop on or Mark pops on during those 2 days off. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of preparation. It's going to be us just coming on to say hello, hang out with people, and give you guys an opportunity to come and talk to one another. But it's like Mark said, if it was just as easy as hit and go, we could do that. But truthfully, there's a decent amount of preparation that goes into it. And he makes a really good point. We're better this season considerably as a channel and as a family because we made some changes. And those were just a couple. If you've been on the boat a really long time, we went through a lot of different incarnations, so to speak.
Yeah.
The boat changed an awful lot, and always for the better. I really don't think we ever, our mistakes were made the first time around. We've been pretty good about not repeating any of them.
We didn't waste a relapse. That's what happened.
We did not waste a relapse.
I mean, that's
up with Ilea, the two of you together. Forget about it.
Well, I mean, it's really, I mean, honestly, guys,
great way to put it, man.
Well, we learn from our mistakes and we apply it, and it says a lot for you guys, and it says a lot for just frankly me and Tommy, because we're willing to go ahead and do that, and because of that, the channel has become way bigger than me and Tommy could be, or just whatever it is, and we've said this since the beginning. If it could help one person, we'd still be here.
Right.
Do we want it to help more than one person? Absolutely. Are we going to try our hardest to help the whole world? You bet. I mean, that's what we're going to do. But
look at Brandon Taylor.
Yeah.
Brandon, I love you, bud. I really do.
Yep. Cindy, I think Cindy D, it's her first time at least commenting. I'm not sure. Is it?
I don't remember Cindy D. So
my son's life mattered. I'm wondering if that she maybe have lost a child or something, maybe. But
she said, mine is alcohol. Can I still be here?
Yes.
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 Yes. You are in the right place. You are absolutely in the right place.
Okay.
My son's lives mattered when my son passed. I wanted the want to drink hit hard. I'm struggling, but I'm still doing okay. Cindy, I am sorry to hear about the loss of your son. It's it is a great example. It's those moments that we were talking about earlier in the show. If you were here in the beginning, it's that my life is over moment. And, so often it's such a real thing in the mind. It really is. And it's always very easy to say, through the lens of, we got through it, or whatever the case may be, that, well, this too shall pass. Really easy thing to say. It's a difficult thing to actually push through, but 100 out of 100 times getting around people and saying, this is why I'm hurting, and just getting it out literally will do absolute wonders for the healing process. It really will. And there's a good group of people here that
I guess she's been here a couple times, judging by the chat.
Okay.
But she says she found us through Heather Joy. So
all right.
See, and that's how that works.
Said I wholeheartedly enterprise with you, and he does.
Yes.
The major is one of the people here that truthfully know what you're going through.
Yeah. It's you're going to find that a lot. It really is. There's going to be somebody here that has been through most likely what you've been going through at some point. I knew that this would probably happen with our channel, but we see a lot of alcoholics because that is a very big problem in our country and in the world, frankly, but it's something that's accepted, so it doesn't get talked about.
Right.
Like it needs to be. We all know what AA is, right? I mean, we've talked about that up one side and down the other, but This is not that. And this is everybody coming to the same place. You will never see an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that has NA people there. You're not going to see it unless they're just trying to show people, hey, this is how we work it, because that's what they tell you when you go to NA. Hey, this is the same thing as that. Just replace the word alcohol with your drug of choice. That's how they run the program. It's that simple. And I still got my NA book. When you go into in-house rehab, most likely you're going to get one of those NA books.
The blue book.
Yeah, I got the blue book, and I kept it because I really do. I read it sometimes. I'm not gonna say I didn't. I apply a lot of the stuff it says. So this is what it is. The stuff in there is good. It really is. But again,
Carol,
go ahead.
did you see Carol? Carol
Yeah.
said, I need prayer for my anxiety and help with my herbal medicine. I have been off opiates for 11 years. Good for you.
That's
And
awesome.
off my anxiety and depression meds as of this early this year. So my body is feeling it.
Yeah.
Boy, I believe that.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
absolutely believe that. That's a tough position to be in. Carol, we would be more than happy to send thoughts and prayers. And I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're saying that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Well, virtually out loud, right? One of the things, like when I was going through this and talking about reacting, this is it's the situations that we all find ourselves in are compounded by 1,000 if you try to go through them alone. We did a video last week called "Don't Suffer in Silence," and I swear to God, it should be a tattoo, right? I should have it right here on the neck. It takes the lives of more addicts than the drugs themselves. The inability for people to talk about what's going on is absolutely killing people. And my bobbleheaded partner made a really good point. It's very difficult for those who have alcohol use disorder, because unlike if you're addicted to heroin, you're not going to run into 25 people who go, I do heroin with no problem. I don't know why you can't handle it. But that really is an attitude of a lot of people. When you say to somebody, well, I'm trying to quit drinking, it's not like saying to somebody, I'm trying to quit doing heroin, who thinks, well, I'm not going to have them over for dinner tonight because everyone at the table will be doing heroin. It's a really different situation. Alcohol use disorder is so pervasive, and it's so difficult for people to work through, because it is such an accepted part of our society. My heart goes out to anybody who is struggling through that. Chuck Norris, good to see you. That said, naltrexone is really an amazing medication. If you are suffering with alcohol use disorder, formerly known as alcoholism or whatever, please talk to your doctor, right, about naltrexone. And it's for all intents and purposes, people, it's Narcan. But what it does with alcohol is really a different thing. It doesn't block alcohol from affecting you. What it does is the second aspect of all addiction, and we've talked about this a lot. If you're new to the boat, you may not have heard it, but there are two parts of every addiction. There's the high, right? And then there is the malfunctioning reward center of your brain, which sends down dopamine and rewards you for doing something stupid. So the second part of the buzz is this feel good, ooh, it's like it's literally the same exact thing that happens when the doctor hands you your child for the first time. It's not a different phenomenon. It's the exact same phenomenon. So when your brain starts telling you that what you're doing is more important than anything else, it does that through the release of chemicals, but that's what it's doing. Great job, Mark. The more of those you drink, the more of this chemical I'm going to send. And all of a sudden, you get this warm and fuzzy that's on top of the buzz. And what most people don't realize is that it's that warm and fuzzy that keeps you using. So with naltrexone, what happens is people don't get that warm and fuzzy. You can drink and still get a buzz and do all of that. And it is astounding the number of people who just go, yeah, I'm done. This isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Once the fun is taken out of the drug, it really does sort of make things, makes things.
And I think for those of us that are on medicated assisted treatment like Suboxone, we go through the same thing, because we're taking a drug that's not getting us high. We're not getting that secondary anything. But we know it's making us better. So that's why we continue to do it. So, we're not getting that boost. And what that's doing is it's allowing us to think clearer, and it's allowing us to understand that we don't have to have that to be happy. And
Can you put up the Major's comment before I forget?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No,
to
go ahead.
Really an important comment.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go for it.
We've had a couple of different people talking about, the cessation of drinking, right? We're going to quit drinking. The Major makes an absolutely essential point that we cannot say enough here on the Lifeboat. Depending on how far you are into your alcohol use, quitting cold turkey can be life-ending.
Yes.
right? It is one of the few drugs on this planet that cold turkey can kill you. You can seize up, and all kinds of bad things can happen. If if you're drinking 3 or 4 bottles of wine a day, if you're drinking a fifth of booze a day, whatever the case may be, if you're really up into very large amounts of alcohol, your body literally needs it to live. So you need to start talking to a medical professional. They can help you through that process. They usually do that by prescribing benzodiazepines, which does the exact same thing in the brain as alcohol, identical. For that reason, you also can die if you quit cold turkey on benzos because of what it does in the brain. But I have watched many people who have been weaned off of alcohol with benzos, and it's a great reason for. I'm sorry, I caught it really is an essential reason to talk to a medical professional before you start trying to quit either of those substances. That's essential, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Major.
Yes, thank you for saying that. And Ray, thank you for being here. I know you've been here a couple times before, I believe. Ray W. I think we've seen Ray in here a couple times. He makes a good point here too. Work Christmas party tomorrow. Won't hang out long. That's something we haven't talked about here this year.
Boy, we're getting on it though, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're getting up to that time right now where the Christmas party is coming.
Yes, and it's going to be a big thing, guys. You're going to have to pay attention because don't fall into it. It really is easy to do. He makes it, it's not saying that you can't go to a Christmas party. It's just saying do what he just said. If you walk in the door and you're in there 2 seconds and you start feeling a certain way, you turn back around and you leave. You don't have to stay. You don't. And, you can make up any excuse you need to. Whatever it is, just get out of there. If you start feeling that way. Now, if you don't think you're strong enough to even show up, then don't show up. Trust yourself in that opinion. Please. Because it will lead you to nowhere but a dark place. It really, truly will. And it's so easy to fall into it right now. I mean, this is such a great time of year, but it's the worst time of year for addiction. It really, truly is.
No question. Ilea, you really are too awesome. I'm going to agree with you on that one. Tommy Bird says, yeah, that's why for me personally, methadone would have never worked. I'd have gotten worse. Certainly, I loved methadone as an addict due to its legs. What he means is that it's one of the longest acting of all painkillers. There are certain medical assisted treatments that don't work for some people. It's the reason that there are, it's like almost anything else in life. If it doesn't work, you find a different avenue. There was also a comment that says hospitals look down on medical assisted treatment. They do.
They do.
There's no question that they do.
Ask Linda Pierce.
Right. However, it's based on ignorance. And the beautiful thing is that they're getting better. Are they there yet? No, they're a damn fine sight from there.
Yes.
However, as new people keep coming in, and as this becomes more of an accepted, route to take to get people off of stuff, we're going to see a lot less of the stigma. And it's difficult to find a shining spot in the opiate crisis that we're in the middle of. But if there is any shining spot at all, it's that this is bringing to light really, really serious problems with how we view MAT, right? Because medical assisted treatment, that the reason, people will come here and they will start talking about medical assisted treatment, and there will be somebody always that will say, no, that's awful, and here's why. And it's one of those subjects that we don't do entire shows on very often for that reason, because they always devolve into an argument, and those are based on ignorance as well. I don't want to do a show that gets somebody to go, well, I'm not going to go that route. Look, I know I'm being judged. I don't want that crap to happen. Keep in mind, people, that if you have an opinion about medical assisted treatment, voicing it these days can kill somebody. Okay?
Yes.
Literally can kill somebody. The number of people who are going to die. We have been on the air roughly an hour. 10 people in the United States have overdosed and died while we've been doing this show. This is life or death stuff. Hospitals are looking down on MAT less now than they ever have because of the number of people that they try to bring back from the dead on a daily basis. Right. It's not much of a shining spot, but it is one.
Linda says, what does the one stand for? The one stands for prayers. Put a 1 in
Yeah.
the chat if we're doing prayers for somebody, or we're acknowledging somebody did something, or something like that. Just giving somebody a heads up. Hey, this is what's up. Usually it means prayers. But
Right.
I also want to say this real quick too. Leah had dropped a comment there. Adam Marfugel tweeted the stream out, and I want to bring that up because
Wow.
that's an awesome thing when Adam does that. You guys don't know who Adam is. You're probably living under a rock by now. Here anyway, because we talked about it and on my channel so many times. It's how a lot of us found each other.
Right.
But his channel is getting close to 200,000 subscribers, and he's a really good friend of mine. Me and Ilea are actually mods over there. He's a good friend of Tommy. He actually put Wages World and the Lifeboat on the friends page on his website. So that tells you what kind of guy he is. And there's not a whole lot. There's enough there, but there's not. It's not like some big extended list that you're going to get lost in.
No, you're not.
So
No, you're
people
not.
know, and he says this too, and he really likes Tommy. He said it so many times to me personally, and he likes, obviously, me and Adam are friends also. But every time he does that, it's awesome, and he doesn't have to. That's why I'm saying.
Well,
this.
and it's also humbling,
Yes.
If you're a content creator, when people start getting into those 6-digit numbers, it's it says an awful lot about their ability to do what they do. It's
Yes.
you can accidentally come across 10,000 subscribers if you do this long enough. You
Yeah.
will not accidentally get to 200,000. It's usually based on tenacity and skill, and Adam is knee deep in both.
Yes.
And
Dex too. I don't want to forget Dex.
absolutely,
Dex.
absolutely.
Dex is
And
me.
for them, yeah, right. Well, yeah, I think you're a bit of both.
Yeah.
But for them to take time and to do that to help push the boat along, it's humbling, and I can't say enough about their channel.
Just
I
really
can't.
good people. That's all. I mean, it really, it's where it kind of falls into, and I think it's important to recognize that when it happens, because we don't oftentimes get a whole lot of that in this world anymore. And like Ilea said right there, Dex is the man. And let me tell you something. Him and Adam, they're a team, just like me and Tommy are, and that's why it works. That is why it works. I don't know that Adam could have done it by itself, the level that he's at now. And I know I couldn't have done this without Tommy. It's just what it is. He's got the speaking ability in front of people. I'm okay at it, but
You're damn fine at it.
but it is what it is, and that's what we do. We got a common goal, and then we're working for it, and that's exactly what they do over there. And it's all good, honest, just
It's
good
also
stuff.
not a coincidence.
Right.
I mean, when we were putting this together, we absolutely used them
Template.
as a template. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it worked so well. If you've got two personalities that are strong, trying to make them work in a content creating way is something that can end up being a challenge. And we tried other routes. We tried switching one day and then going another day, but then you don't get the interplay. And so often, one of us will come up with something that the other didn't. Yes, Mark is Tommy's Dex. Yeah, he's.
Yeah. Honestly, I would wear that like a badge. I really, truly would.
Yeah, no,
And
I'm taking nothing away from Dex by saying that. It's just that you definitely are. You wear two hats, so to speak.
But you do too. You can go live
Yes.
on your own. So
I can go live on my own. What I can't do is touch any of this stuff. See this thing right here? This thing is worthless. I want to throw this thing across the room. And as far as owning it, y'all should have heard me right before we went live. I was definitely in my element.
Hey.
So the reason we were late today is because the big red button, in their infinite wisdom, decided that my password needed to be changed. I don't know why the hell my password needed to be changed, but when they had me change the password, I sent it out to all of the people that I needed to send it out to, except the
Me.
producer. Which makes a lot of sense. Thought I did, but apparently I didn't. So that one was on me. And then as I was trying to give him the new password and it wasn't working well, I may have broken a couple of the rules here on the lifeboat.
yeah, but you know what? That's what we all get in our own space. I do want to read Carol's comment here, and we're at the top. I mean, we're getting really close to the end here. So we probably don't have a whole lot of time to address this, but
well, let's do it.
Carol Cena says, "Yeah, my son-in-law died from alcohol, and he was too far gone." They tried benzos for him. Then the same day, my little brother, she says she, I'm saying probably he, 49, died of a heart attack last year, same day, same hospital room.
Good Lord.
Same hospital room.
Wow.
That is wow. Yeah, that my grandpa and my aunt passed away in the same room at the hospital, like years apart from each other. It's
unbelievable.
It's weird how that works, isn't it? But and I'm not taking nothing from Carol there. I shouldn't even brought my conversation part of mine in there, but that's horrible, Carol. And hopefully you can stick around here, and maybe you can share some of your knowledge with us that you gained from that. I'm sure you got,
because you are still here, which is incredible. So you obviously endured, and that one next to the lifeboat is for you, because you deserve thoughts and prayers. That is really something to overcome. That is absolutely amazing. Yeah, we started a little late. That's all me right there. So we're going to have to we're going to wrap this up now. We are at the top of the hour. Today is our Monday, so we'll be back tomorrow. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. We love you guys, man. Every one of you. Really an amazing group of people. And you know what? It just keeps growing. And a special shout out again to Adam and Dex. Thank you so much for what you guys do. The lifeboat would not be where the lifeboat is today without you guys. And that's great stuff. By the way, I don't know if you caught this, because we were trucking right along at the time, but Heather said that she is going to be going live on our days off. So,
okay.
Boy, if you really want to put somebody on the spot, you just ask them while you're live. Right?
Yeah.
So that one works. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Captain Mark Wages.
It's not exactly a cat in a basket. But she's on the mink coat. I'll hide it by tomorrow.